Hi everybody, my name is Matt Haynes. I'm an audiobook narrator and I'm dedicated to learning different voices and different accents for my work, posting about 2 videos on this each month. The focus for a character voice that we're going to do this month is Jimmy Stewart. We're going to break down the principles of the Jimmy Stewart voice and then apply those principles to song lyrics. Ta-da! Here's the Mattoon, everybody. This is a picture of me with my glasses on, and it's meant to illustrate where the voice is living in my mouth when I'm practicing it. So for the Jimmy Stewart voice, we have 2 major elements. The first is the most important, which is the wide open space right in the back of the left jaw. It tends to hang out right there, and it makes these very, very wide open sounds. And then we've also got the lips pursing forward for particular words. So what I tend to do is I tend to freeze up my right cheek a little bit and just let things go from there, so that instead of saying, hello, how are you today, with everything flexing, we go to, hello, how are you today? Let's talk about the essence of the Jimmy Stewart voice and charisma. What I am thinking of when I think of the Jimmy Stewart voice is storm clouds that are passing over a sun that occasionally blinks through. So you get this very, very slow roll that occasionally squeaks into something nice and bright and then keeps going, sort of like that. And there's a sort of a grittiness and a wetness to it. And it just goes up and down, up and down. Occasionally there's lightning that comes out, but then there's usually a little bit of sun almost all the time. So with the Jimmy Stewart voice, what I'm finding is that as I have everything nice and open in the back part of the throat and the jaw, things tend to get less diphthongized. In other words, like the word, the O sound, O, becomes something closer to an O. And also things become very, very broad and open, very similar in Southern accents. So, for example, as in hat becomes something close to an aw, so hot. The sound becomes something closer to an sound, so set would be something closer to a set. I becoming closer to an so I like becoming I like. E becoming something closer to an so eat would be ate. And the ow sound becoming closer to an sound, so going out would be going out. Another thing to remember throughout all of this is to keep those L's fairly articulate. Don't let them disappear. Sometimes when an L isn't being articulated, especially at the end of a word, it can go forward into almost an O sound, or like a W sound. So like fell could be fell. It's very tempting for me to do this because of the pucker effect that Jimmy Stewart's speech has, and also because it's so broad in the back. But I find that if I make just a little extra effort to articulate the L, it comes much closer to what his voice sounds like. So she fell, it wouldn't be she fell, and it wouldn't be she fell, but she fell. The R sound tends to have just a very creamy purr to it. Come here, something closer to come here. And of course, one of the key things with the Jimmy Stewart accent, if you're going to impersonate him, you got to do the S to SH lisp. So even the word lisp be lisp. Now let's take a look at 2 elements of the musicality of Jimmy Stewart's voice. The first is the sunshine that blinks through those clouds. The sort of a realization where the voice just breaks a little bit. So if there's something that's surprising, for example, I guess she had to crash, and that's a surprise. It'd be, I guess she had to crash. If we say the word down, down, it can actually take multiple tones. Or hat, depending on what he's going through, how he's processing things. So if, for example, we're at the end of one of his poem lines and he's building up to the next line, there was a hat and it belonged to a cat. There was a hat, belonged to a cat. The final 2 things we'll focus on are thought process indicators. So the other really distinguished part of Jimmy Stewart's voice is the stuttering. Sometimes repeating words before moving on, sometimes just stuttering on the first letter of a word. What I'm doing to make things consistent is I'm aiming for stuttering before a verb is given, since verbs are decisive, active, and stuttering indicates indecision. So that's how I'm doing that character. So Sugar Plum Fairy came out. The word is came, right? So Sugar Plum Fairy came, or you could say Sugar Plum Fairy came. Then there is the decisive oomph of certain words. So sometimes there's the lull and going along, and there's a dip, and there's an up, and there's a down while trying to decide. But then sometimes there's a point, and that point is given really hard, and it especially is good for plosives like the P sound, or but, or bout. Sort of thing, and that's where the lips really come forward. So if we have everybody had to pay and pay, it could be everybody had to pay and pay. Okay, everybody, it is song time. Time to take these elements and apply them to the lyrics of Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side. Holly came from Miami, FLA, hitchhiked her way across the USA, plucked her eyebrows on the way, shaved her legs, then he was a she. Said, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. Candy came from out on the island. In the back room, she was everybody's darling, but she never lost her head, even when she was giving head. She said, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. Little Joe never once gave it away. Everybody had to pay and pay. Hustle here, hustle there. New York City is the place where they said, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. A Sugar Plum Fairy came and hit the streets looking for soul food and a place to eat. Went to the Apollo, should have seen him go, go, go. Said, hey sugar, take a walk on the wild side. Jackie is just speeding away. Thought she was James Dean for a day. And I guess she had to crash. Valium would have helped that bash. He said, hey babe, walk on the wild side. And that was Walk on the Wild Side from Lou Reed. Music by Kevin MacLeod. Gives this stuff out royalty-free, public domain. Thank you so much, Kevin. So, is this the go-to video for the Jimmy Stewart accent voice? No. But it is a go-to place for discussing it and seeing what ideas you have about the accent and about the voice. Please put those in the comments. Be specific so that everybody can learn. I'll see you next time.